Mutton fat is also called sheep fat or fat tail. It has a very rich spectrum of healing properties that are not widely known about. We decided to correct this misunderstanding and tell you about them, and we'll be sure to compare mutton fat to the pork fat we're used to. Essentially, fat tail fat is a kind of analog of the more familiar pork fat we are all familiar with. And if you study folk recipes, both culinary and medicinal, based on pork and lamb fat, they are used in similar situations. For example, such peoples as Muslims historically do not use pork products, and for them, one of the important sources of animal fat is fat tail. But let's get ahead of ourselves and say that there is still a significant difference, and they are not in favor of pork fat. And here's why. See below. The people of the East have a saying that says that as many diseases will leave your body as many pieces of fat tail you have eaten. What is the difference between fat tail and pork fat, and which is better? If we talk about calories, the amount of cholesterol, the composition of essential fatty acids, and the energy value, the two types of fat do not differ much in these characteristics. But the following points seriously distinguish fat tail from pigs. Mutton fat is interesting, rich in vitamin composition B, A, E, D, and C. It is rich in trace elements such as magnesium, copper, zinc, sodium, phosphorus, potassium. The most important thing is that the natural product today, we can call it, is fat tail. The explanation is very simple. Sheep tend to feed exclusively on paddock, i.e., natural grass in the pasture. And on the other hand, pig feeds very often contain various artificial additives and antibiotics, which are widely used for faster animal weight gain and increased fat mass. This ultimately naturally affects the quality of the fat as well. All of these additional nutritional components, when a person consumes pork products, enter naturally into their body as well. Artificial additives can cause allergies, disrupt the gastrointestinal tract, and even cause cancer or cardiovascular disease. It is also interesting that mutton fat, due to its natural origin and enriched composition, is much more widely used in cosmetology. It is successfully used in the production of face creams, various masks, and balms for hair. It is mutton fat that is the dietary product. It is added to a dish to restore strength to people who have undergone heavy operations for exhaustion. In Mongolia, letting your child suck on a piece of fat tail is a tradition. It is believed that in the composition of this fat has all the necessary for the growth and development of the child, micronutrients. Useful properties of lamb fat. Mutton fat from ancient times is widely used in folk medicine in getting rid of various ailments. Its application today is also very relevant, and it can be an additional prevention for certain diseases. So, fat tail fat is healthy. As an anti-inflammatory for colds, prevention of eye disease, prevention of infertility, impotence, and hormonal failures, to slow down the aging process, to increase brain activity, to improve blood flow, as a natural antioxidant to improve immunity, as well as to normalize blood sugar. American radiobiologists in an experiment on laboratory mice have come to the conclusion that the essential oleic acid, which is part of lamb fat, is the main defender of the body from the effects of radiation. This happens by acid inactivation of a protein called cytochrome C, which enters the cell under the influence of radiation and triggers its self-destruction. This property of this acid allows it to be used in patients undergoing radiotherapy. In this way, the damaging effect of radiotherapy on healthy cells is prevented. Contraindications. In pathologies of the liver and gallbladder, the consumption of fat tail increases the load on these organs, and in obesity, the risk of even greater deposition of fat mass increases. On the basis of lamb fat, preparations are made that are indicated for patients with obesity, atherosclerosis, and liver pathologies. When combining a strict diet and taking such a drug, doctors are able to achieve significant success in stabilizing fat metabolism in the human body. Lamb fat varieties. Depending on which part of the animal carcass the fat is obtained from and its nutritional properties, This product is divided into several varieties. The highest grade, or so-called curdy fat, which is obtained from the fatty deposits in the tail area, actually called kurduk. First grade, which is what the insides of the lamb are coated with. Second grade, obtained by heating the intermuscular and subcutaneous fat of the animal. In Ingushetia, the presence of fat tail in the house is considered a symbol of prosperity. The fat consumed for food was salted, but the fat intended for medicinal purposes could not be salted and was melted down. Travelers took it with them on the road, and for old people and children who had no teeth to chew solid food, fat tail fat was the main delicacy. Lamb fat recipes. Coughing. To get rid of a cough or sore throat quickly, you need to melt 1 teaspoon of mutton fat in a teaspoon of warm milk and drink it before it cools down. If you are not a fan of milk, you can dissolve a spoonful of fat in any herbal tea, and in principle, any warm drink you like will do. You can mix 1 teaspoon each of fat and honey and eat the resulting mass. This remedy is also very effective against cough. It should be noted that these remedies cannot be used at high body temperature, as it can, on the contrary, only aggravate the picture. For joint diseases, or joints, mutton fat is used as a compress or ointment. You can apply a thick layer of fat to the area of the sore joint and tie the place with a warm scarf. But only keep such a compress. It is desirable for a week, changing daily. Many people simply rub warm grease in at night and bandage the sore spot with a warm scarf. In heel spurs, also apply a compress. To prepare it, mix 1 raw egg with 100 grams of lamb fat and 100 milliliters of vinegar. Soak a gauze pad in this mixture, apply the compress overnight, and wear warm woolen socks over it. To improve hair condition. To make a hair mask, mix 300 grams each of pork and lamb fat and add a spoonful of mustard powder. Apply this mixture along the entire length of your hair for 1 hour and cover your head with a warm towel. The use of home remedies is recommended in combination with medications prescribed by a doctor. Don't rely solely on home remedies, as they are mostly preventive measures and do not replace proper medical treatment.
This content is for informational and educational purposes only. Consult with a doctor or healthcare professional before following any recommendations provided in this video. Tell us about your experience in the comments and subscribe to our channel.